So I'm going to read you a verse, and I want you to think in your mind, is it New Testament or Old Testament? So here it is. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace. And with his words we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned, every one, to his own ways. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. Now I bet all y'all thinking, easy, that's New Testament. It sounds like Jesus' death, sounds how we are healed by his words, and the Lord laid on him the iniquity of us all. We're like sheep, go astray. All of these things. Pierced, like how Jesus was pierced in his side by the Roman guard. But it wasn't. It wasn't New Testament. It was actually Old Testament. 700 years before Jesus was even born. The prophet Isaiah in chapter 53, verse 5 through 6 wrote this. Now, this isn't the whole chapter. It's a little bit more that also resembles Jesus, but I just wanted to maybe have you go through this a little more. I want you to be a little more courteous and see what it also, other things that it says. But, he has it right here. But he was pierced for our transgression. He was pierced in his side. Isaiah wrote this down 700 years before Jesus was even born. That's crazy. This just proves more things why the Bible is very legitimate. There's no way a normal man would have just wrote this down, said these things, guessed it. And that's how that exact way happened, unless God gave him like a vision or prophecy, and he just wrote down what he saw and what God told him to write. And that's what he wrote down. He wrote down a very, from 700 years in the past, he wrote down a very, a decently accurate telling of how Jesus' death, how he was dying, but not only that, what it meant for his death, what was on him. And he said some things that Jesus said, not in the same way, but very close. Jesus says, he is the shepherd and we are the sheep. Just how he says, all we like sheep have gone astray to his own way. And the Lord laid on him all of our iniquities so that we could come back to him. There's multiple things that in this passage that both Jesus and, Isaiah said it, but it was very close to what, in the same way Jesus said. So this just proves more, and I think you'll be very surprised. And when you see these small details like this, you realize there's a little more to this. I think hopefully this opens up a little more. That's saying, hey, because a lot of people think the Old Testament is all about us. Yeah, look at it. All the sins are on us. But look at it. They killed sheep for the forgiveness of sins. And Jesus was the ultimate sheep. There's not much of a difference in it. People just say it's Old Testament because this is the type of stuff that's written in the New Testament. But you'll find a lot of similarities between them. And I hope that maybe this opens up more similarities, that you'll see more similarities between the Old Testament and New Testament teachings, but also more similarities in prophets that point to New Testament ideas and New Testament, not just New Testament ideas, but New Testament events like this one. It clearly represents Jesus. So I hope this definitely opens your eyes a little more to how incredible the Old Testament was, and that it isn't just the New Testament Bible. You don't just read the New Testament. Got to read the Old Testament as well.